What's up? This is gonna be my June 26th vlog, even though it's 4 in the morning, it's still June 26th. So, yeah. No music today, because I intend to talk about some pretty serious stuff. But, you kind of know what I'm getting at. But before I get into that, I'll get all the, like, fighting game stuff related out of the way. So, what's, like, the news digest? I don't know. I'm moving. I'm going to be moving August 1st, so I'll be able to do a bunch of cool stuff after that. It'll be dope, more streams and stuff, more content, blah blah blah. Kind of related to what I was gonna talk about later. But um yeah, CEOs this week. I'm not going, of course, because reasons. I'm pretty busy and getting ready to move and everything, and I don't really want to like gatekeep qualifiers since it's an Arc Tour qualifier. But yeah, that's gonna be that. I'll definitely like stream myself watching it and whatever, I guess. Might as well, right? I'm gonna be watching it anyway. And what else? Oh, my stomach hurts so bad. I've been so sick. So the other thing is PG keys, right? So if you don't know what PG keys is, it's PG keys to Evo. It is kind of like an online tour circuit thing for points where you qualify for top 8 point earners, and then that puts you in the finals, which are going to be on July 11th, I believe. July 11th. So I'll be, streaming, commentating that. The winner of that event on the 11th gets a full ride to Evo, flight, hotel, venue, the whole shebang. So that's going to be good. A lot of names you already know in there, Gears, Reno, Base, Fame, stuff in the top 8. So it'll be pretty good. It'll be pretty good. So yeah, I'm just gonna cut to the chase, right? So, uh, there's this whole thing, uh, my chair, yeah, this whole thing with Etika, right? And it's actually a shame. It's really a shame. He lives like 10 minutes from me. It's really close, real local thing. Where a lot of this happened. Everything is pretty local. So I honestly could I kind of want to say that a lot of how people have been reacting to this kind of thing is actually like kind of bothering me. Not really in the way where I'm like, it's not like a bad thing, but it feels like people are kind of missing the root of it. I mean, a lot of people are talking about like, influencers' mental health and stuff. And I think it's important, but how do we address this properly, right? What are the actual issues going on here? And ultimately, as someone who intends to kind of put myself in a similar spotlight, right? I kind of want to make content and stuff like that. And, a lot of these things are things that I've been thinking about and kind of dynamics that I've kind of struggled with too, just in terms of like dealing with people and kind of presenting myself a certain way and having people take me seriously and stuff like that. So as to not establish myself a certain way and all that stuff. But if you kind of don't really know about him, he's kind of like a funny guy, right? He's like a reactionary, like hype man almost. And I think that image was so pervasive that his fan base just constantly treated him that way, even when things were very serious, right? And I do think that the people talking about, you know, asking for help or noticing signs for like cries for help or whatever, it's important stuff, right? It's not untrue, but I don't think it is really like the most pertinent thing. Because I think the most pertinent thing, and I think the thing that kind of pushed this the farthest, was the actual fans themselves, right? The kind of mob mentality and how the mob kind of treats him is really the biggest shame, right? It is the kind of root of the issue, I would say. So how is that the case? Well, anytime things would get relatively serious, like everyone would be like, "Oh, is he doing this for attention?" you know, and it's not necessarily like, hey, let's take this seriously, because there are many people I know who have tried hard to take care of him, and ultimately it was just, it was, I'm not going to say too little, too late, but they were just going against too much, right? So kind of noticing these things and like taking care of them for people you know is definitely helpful. It's definitely a step in the right direction, but it didn't, it didn't like, you know, this is just like shitty talk about. Like it didn't do enough, right? It didn't do enough. And that's just because there's too much like bullshit just like going against him, right? And that just has to do with the mob mentality, right? It's like, hmm. So like, you know, he'll build up this persona, this character and stuff like that. And a lot of people need to be aware of that, right? It's not like you I think it is such a modern issue, right? In terms of kind of being in the spotlight all day, every day. This is your identity now. This is your identity. This is who you are, right? And like streams and stuff like that are such a like window into this person's like personal life and stuff that ultimately just the raw numbers of people, right, kind of create this weight on you where you have to maintain this image to a degree, right? And it's not only because you're trying to be popular or whatever, but like when you look at this kind of industry and this kind of business, right, there's so much stuff going on in terms of like people's livelihood hinging on these personas and these characters and just like, you know, giving people what they want, right? And it gets so grating. Like it gets so grating to a degree. So it's pretty rough. Um, when the viewer base kind of gets to the point where they have that control over you, it's rough, you know. I mean I live in a like neighborhood where there's a lot of like pretty well established actors and stuff who have actually experienced very similar kinds of things. Uh, they're a lot older, and you know, obviously the kind of dynamics are a little different just because of how like, you know, the internet works and stuff like that. And you know, I was kind of surprised to hear at how similar a lot of this is. A lot of it is like, you know, putting on a show, right? You put on a show, entertain, you give the people what they want, but it can't really define you. But it's so difficult when you're going against like hundreds of thousands of people, right? You go against thousands of people telling you this is who you are, right? It's kind of weird, kind of interesting, and you know that's kind of what happened, I think, with him. You know, you get 1,000 people, 100,000 people telling him who he is. It's gonna drive him crazy. It's gonna drive anyone crazy, right? So just don't fucking do that. Like, don't do that to people, right? When you're consuming this kind of content, when you're looking at all these people and like, you know, what people need to do to succeed in this kind of thing where they're like, hey, you know, I gotta stream every day and I gotta make all this content and I gotta be this way and I gotta be the person that you want to see and stuff like that. It's hard to say, you know, engaging this is not a great thing because it also kind of fuels the machine of I need to be this. I need to be this, right? So try not to box your content creators in, I would say. I can imagine how suffocating it is, you know. I can't really speak on the kind of extent that like it went to for him because obviously I'm not so established, right? But even then I have kind of felt the effect of it and I'm lucky that I haven't had to struggle so much with it, right? Where I've had to be like, hey, if I don't do this, my life is gonna change drastically. So I haven't really had that amount of pressure on me, but I've been very wary of it, right? It's something to think about. I don't want to be someone that, I am not, right? And I don't want people to make me into something I'm not. And it's rough, it got so bad for him, like no one took what he said seriously, I think also because of the kind of persona that he established and the kind of fan base that he established, right? And even though some of his like closer friends and stuff like actually tried to, you know, do their part, like take good care of him and stuff, like it's just so hard to counterbalance, you know. But what else can you do? So it's got to be a collective understanding, right? And I think that is extremely, extremely difficult, right? Collective understanding on how you should treat your kind of content creators on the internet, right? Whole thing's fucked up. That's it, straight up. Whole thing's fucked up. So be careful. That's kind of all I really wanted to say in a nutshell. Be careful on how you treat these people. These people, right? Be wary of your content consumption, what you want to see and what it actually implies, what you want to see, you know, because I'm pretty sure no one wanted this, no one wanted this. Yeah. I always feel kind of weird talking about stuff like this because I'm kind of worried. I don't want people to take it the wrong way. My videos aren't monetized. Like, I'm not going to advertise this anywhere for sure. So if you hear it, you hear it, whatever. Uh, yeah, I'll see ya.